Oh, right. Hello, welcome back to Gas Beauty Tabletop Football, where it's quite early in the morning. And the reason I'm here pre 7 a.m. is because I've had quite a few suggestions on how to approach painting these figures. So thank you very much for that, everyone that sent me those suggestions. And one of the pieces of advice that came through with that was that any new figures need to be washed first. So what I've done, I've come down here and I'm going to quickly wash them, and then later on today we can have a go at painting them again. Okay, so I better crack on with this because, like most people, I've got another place to be in the middle of the working day. So here are the figures. How are we going to wash these? Later, my darling, later. Well, what I've brought with me is a little tub of soapy water. So we're not going to get too complicated about this. This is just about stay warm. I'm going to chuck them in. There's one trying to escape. I'm going to chuck these grey ones in as well. Get in, man. I ain't got time. Ain't got time nor patience at this time of day. We're going to give him a little agitation. So that's all that's in there is, it was hot water, but now it's sort of like lukewarm. With like about 1 or 2 drops of washing up liquid. And then as far as the washing front goes, I'm sure I don't need to explain this to anyone, but that's going to be enough just to get off any residue that's on the figures. Now, that should be sufficient. So what we need to do now is rinse them off. And that means chucking that water out. What a mess. Now, obviously, as with anything you wash, once it's done, you're going to be left with them covered in soapy residue. And although no one has advised this, I don't think that's a particularly good idea for painting. So I did bring with me also a clean tub, a clean bottle of water. So I'm going to give these figures a sort of double rinse in that and get rid of all the soap suds. Again, agitate it, make a right mess. And let's get rid of that water. And one last time. Rinse them through. And then I think what I'll do this time is actually take them out of there before I discard the water. Make sure they're nice and rinsed off. You notice I'm not so chatty first thing in the morning. I am not a morning person. I like being up in the morning. I just don't like interacting with anyone. Right. There's 2 more of them in there. Let's get rid of that water. What a mess, man. Look at that. Clean that off before we go any further. I think I might wait and let that dry. Okay, so dry bit of cloth. I think we might double up on that as well. So we've got another couple of pieces here. In fact, I'll keep that for the top. That's what I'm going to do. Now let's get our figures. And this is the reason I'm doing this morning, is because I wanted these to have time to dry out fully before we start getting any paint and brush on them. So they're going to be just sat in here It's meant to be warmer today as well. It's about 15 degrees C today, later on. So it should get quite cozy in here. Temperature in the workshop and in the Spectators room is usually a good few degrees warmer than the outside. So if we put them on there, and then all we're going to do is put them to bed and leave them dry off till much later today. And that is exactly where I will see you. And I'm back. Right, so plan of attack this evening. We've got these now washed, unpainted figures, which are brand new figures. And we've got the already painted sort of model railway ones. For now, I'm going to put them to one side. We're not going to bother with those ones, and we're going to concentrate on trying to get all these unpainted ones done. Now, going on some of the other advice that I was given, these have now been washed. They've been drying all day, so they're nice and bone dry. And what I'm going to do is put a base coat on these ones, which should help with when we come to paint them. Now, in regards to a base coat, what I'm going to do is get an old paint, and I've got this old Games Workshop Citadel type white paint. I'm going to make like a thin down white wash out of that and use that as a base coat paint. Then we can paint over the top with the Vallejo model colour paints, which a couple of you suggested that these are the best ones to use anyway. So I don't really want to sort of use them up for a base coat. I'll use the Citadel paints for the base coat, and then we can paint with them on top. All right. So that's what we're going to do next. Now, I'm not going to put you through the ordeal of watching me base coat all these, but I might show you when I'm a sort of part way into it to see how it's getting on. So let's get this white paint stirred up a little bit because it's probably been sitting for a while. And then what we're going to do, it does look a bit clumpy there. I hope this is going to be all right. But it seems like the best option to use this for the undercoat. I'm going to put it to the side of that little tub there. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too fussed if any other colours get in this because it's just going to be a base coat. So we're going to paint over this anyway. Right, now let's close that up. And using the same implement, look at me, I've got paint all over my hands already. Look at it, I bought some of these tissues and that I covered up. We've got a bit of water here. Now all I want is a couple of little, tiny little bit like that, that's all. And I'm going to mix that all together. Doesn't matter if you get any of the other colour in there that's in this little tub. And then that white wash is going to be the undercoat for our figures. I'm going to start off with that. You may think that's a bit thin, but I'm going to start off with that. If it's thin, I mean, you can always put extra coats on, but I think for a base coat, all you need is really a thin layer. I'm no expert on this. I'm just going on all the advice that many of you have given to me. Right. So, I mean, worst comes to worst, if it needs thickening up, I can drop some more white in that. Now, let's get on with it. Okay, so I ripped through all of them. I'll be honest with you, when I started, I thought, I'm going to get through 10 and I'm going to get bored. But somehow I managed to get through all of them. And the plan seems to have worked to some degree. So that's a very thin white wash across all of them. As it dries, it's getting less and less visible, but it is on there. So I'm thinking that'll be good enough for a base coat. And worst comes to worst, I suppose we could get a second layer on there because it's very thin white paint. Now all we can do is wait for those to dry, and because I was holding them with the reverse tweezers, I didn't paint any of the feet, so I'm going to have to manhandle them and do all the feet. I don't think that's going to take quite as long because I can quickly dab off the feet. If I can hold them in my finger, that's going to be quite a quick process. But I am going to have to wait until that's dry. So I think we're going to have to skip forward to the next evening. Whilst that may seem like a seamless transition, and I was talking about coming back the next day, I just want to confirm it's not next day. It's actually 6 days later. So I had quite a busy weekend, and I couldn't really get to this. You will have seen a previous video. I did a little video about the underlay. So that's basically what I was doing on the weekend. And I've had a lot of other things. I've also been in work. Now I've got like basically about 45 minutes spare where I came down, and I thought I'd have a look at this and give you a bit of an update, because I do need to get this particular episode all squared away, because I need the phone free for something that's happening on the weekend. So let's take a look at what we did with the undercoating. Now what you can see there is a collection of undercoated Spectators. So all of these have had a white wash put over them, and I did manage to get back and do the feet, so they're ready to go. I don't know if that's enough of an undercoat, but it's certainly better than having none. Also, we saw what was basically a week ago for me that we washed the figures as well. So that undercoat should stick on there quite well, and we're ready to start adding extra layers. And one of those layers is jeans. So I basically got a blue. It's a sort of, which one's that? Oh, that's the royal blue from the Model Colour Vallejo paints. And I haven't done anything with that blue. I've just painted it straight on, and it's got a sort of washed denim look about it. It's a little bit light, but I think that's because we've had the white undercoat underneath. And what I'm going to do now in the remaining time I've got is just try and sort of eat into some of these figures and get a few of those trousers done. So then hopefully, if I've got a bit of time before the weekend, we should be able to get some more of those done, and at least we're progressing then. So in total now I've got 12 pairs of the jeans or trousers done, on top of the however many we did last week. I am going to have to skip forward another 24 hours though, because I do have to go, and unfortunately I don't have any time to do any of this evening. But God, this is laborious, isn't it? Torturous and laborious. I mean, we're not even sort of halfway through them yet, and I've still got the shirts and hair and faces and whatnot to do on these ones as well, and tidy up the ones that I did last week, which have dried off. But once those are done and those are dried off, we can compare them with the ones that haven't been undercoated, see if it makes any real difference to it all. Anyway, let's skip forward 24 hours again. So, I'm afraid we're going to have to cut the painting short on this episode. I had hoped to get further along with it in the days that I had. Unfortunately, work and a few other bits and pieces got in the way of that. And today, I've got to go off and do something very different indeed. Anyway, if all goes to plan, you will see some of that in the next video. But until next time, when we will carry on painting, up the gas. I don't know what that was then. I've got a hat in my hand. Out the gas.